What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to my Season 2, Episode 2 review. Now, before I get started, this is how I'm going to be doing Mandalorian videos going forward. I did a sort of spoiler warning in my previous video. In this one, and going forward, I'm simply going to start out the video by saying spoiler warning, and then just being open to talk about spoilers, because there's only so much one can talk about these episodes without actually giving too much away. So I'm going to be getting straight into spoilers, so if you have not seen the episode, please go and watch the episode, then come back here afterwards. So it's going to be a decent video, so buckle up, grab some popcorn, grab some munchies, and settle in. Now, before I start out this video, I want to just say that I've seen people kind of get wrapped in a bunch that this is a filler episode, and I might do a video on it. Filler is actually more important than you realize. Now, I know you may think, well, Jacob, nothing happened. True, nothing significant happened, but there are certain little story beats and character nuances that are created within filler episodes that pay off in the broader story, if you get what I'm saying. So in the filler situation, you may have a character who realizes something, or who learns a lesson, or starts to see things differently. Now, they all sort of come full circle towards the end of the season. I think the problem is because the previous episode set the bar so high. You know, I mean, think about it. Guys, you had a crate dragon, you had pod racers, you had Jawas, you had Tusken Raiders, you had Banthas, you had a dead Sarlacc pit, you had Boba Fett, you had Cobb Vanth, you know, there was so much, Mos Pelgo. You had so much within that episode alone that it could have been one movie. It could have been an entire movie on itself. So you're going to get these filler episodes. And it's not like these filler episodes don't serve anything. They do serve the overall story. And I mean, if you're not a fan of spiders, then I think this episode might not be for you. Just throwing that out there. But into the spoiler discussion, I might talk more about filler in a minute. But into the actual meat of the discussion. It's quite clear that little baby Yoda has a bit of an appetite on him, doesn't he? I mean, he tried eating that frog from the previous season, then he ate a spider from the egg, and then he was eating the frog's eggs just consistently whenever he could get the chance. So it's quite clear he has a bit of an appetite. Very strong appetite. Now, what I like about this show is that, yes, he has the Force, but I like that they use it in doses. They don't use it consistently. You know, save that for the Jedi and the Sith and the movies or like the Kenobi show or something like that. Save that for them. Let this show just be kind of the way it is. Now, I say grounded, even though he just took on a crate dragon, but grounded in the sense that it's kind of balls to the wall. You know, it's one man with a couple of cool fancy weapons against something awesome. And the episode opened up pretty well. It started out with him just speeding through the desert, as you do. And it's a classic movie trope where they put like a long wire across a long stretch of land to make someone go flying off. And I feel slightly terrible every time the child goes flying across the desert. Or just goes flying in general. And he's always screaming and yelping in pain. But, you know, Din Djarin gets the better of them. He convinces the other one to trade for the jetpack. And uses the jetpack to basically throw him off. And then from then on, it becomes sort of like this sort of adventure type mission. And this is what I think a lot of Season 2 is going to be. This is the thing that Season 1, and I don't think people really realize this, is in Season 1, when the show was trying to sort of find its footing of what it really wanted to be, the first 4 episodes, it was mostly an adventure, sort of serial, weekly based adventure type story. And then around episode 5, that's when the story started to come to fruition. So you started to have, you know, the Empire start to have more of a role. Then it obviously led into Moff Gideon. And I think that's going to be the same thing for the rest of the season. I think by about episode 4, you're going to start to see nuggets of the overall story. But episode 3 and 4 are simply, and episode 2, they're simply to fill out the characters a little bit, to fill out the details. And I feel what they're going to do with Boba Fett across the season is he's going to have a big role in the final episode. I don't think he's going to have a big role across the season. Let me explain. His appearance at the end of the first episode was kind of like a subtle wink wink, he's back. I feel like Season 2 is going to end with some kind of story note that makes us look back and go, oh, Boba was behind something along the way. So you can watch the episode again going, okay, Boba's doing this in the background. Okay, Boba's doing that in the background. It's going to be one of those kind of roles. And then in Season 3, I think Boba will definitely have a bigger role. But I think as for Season 2, he's going to just be sort of in the background, in the shadows. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want him to take away the spotlight from Mando. Now, in my opinion, he can't. Because Din Djarin is much better than Boba Fett in every single possible way. I'm just being honest. Boba Fett has done nothing in canon of any... Like, I mean, Din Djarin's taken out a crate dragon. Boba Fett got killed by a blind man. Now, there was a deleted scene in Clone Wars of him and Cad Bane duking it out. So I honestly wonder if they're going to go that route in some way, shape, or form. But his appearance over the season, I feel, will be subtle. He'll be in the background. And then he'll really be brought into the forefront of Season 3. I'm surprised that we haven't actually seen any of Moff Gideon yet. That's something I was really surprised about. I thought we would have seen him more in the background, sort of looming in the shadows, but they're probably saving him for maybe an episode or two later. Because I really would like to see some Darksaber action. I want to see Moff Gideon just wreaking havoc with that thing. Just to see it in live action, it would just be brilliant. But as far as the episode goes, you know, they crash land after being attacked by Dave Filoni and his other X-Wing pilot. And they crash down, and then Baby Yoda's just sort of investigating these, like, rock-looking things. He opens it, and it's like, oh, okay, it's an egg. He eats the egg, because he's got some big appetite. And then we all know what's going to happen next. We've all seen it 1,000 times, where you break one egg, and then, oh my god, they're all eggs. And then all these little spawn beings just start coming out the woodwork. And I honestly thought the frog lady type alien was actually going to be the one to actually die in the cave. I'm glad she didn't, because it wasn't necessary, and it would have just done nothing more than just surprise us. But it was definitely a tense moment, you know, scurrying into the ship, trying to take as many out as possible. And I love the use of the flamethrower, and it just reminds me of the Bounty Hunter game from the early thousands. If you guys have ever played that, it just reminds me so much of that, where you're backed up in a corner and you just get the flamethrower and you just wreak havoc. And then eventually the X-Wing pilots come and save them, and then, you know, they tell them, oh, so this is what happened. You tried to save the lieutenant at the station, played by Matt Lanter, who's also voicing Anakin in Clone Wars. Little fun fact for you in case you didn't know. Most people do know now. So they're discussing back and forth. They basically bugger off and leave Mando to his own devices. And then eventually Din Djarin flies off, and then they sail off into space, and Baby Yoda eats another one of the eggs. But it did feel like this episode was inconsequential. It felt like there wasn't really much here besides recap, filler, and callback. The callback being the droid from the prison thing. Recap being what the Mandalorian did at the prison. And yeah, it didn't feel like there was a lot. Now, I've said why filler is important, but I've also said that 1,000 times over. If you're going to have a story where the characters don't do anything consequential to the main story, but they do something that serves themselves, make sure it does definitely leave you feeling satisfied. I feel like this is one of them episodes where people are just going to go, yeah, you know, yeah, I'm not really a fan of this one. And then they're probably never going to watch this one again. And it was a cool episode. It looked cool. It was definitely nice seeing Din Djarin put in another element. But I was hoping that they were going to kind of ditch the sort of side adventure stuff and just get straight to the point. Because, you know, I think I can speak for most people when we say we'd rather just get straight to the meat and potatoes in it. You know, it's, as I said, filler is important to flesh out the characters. But it really did feel like, in terms of fleshing out the characters, I don't feel like this episode really did too much. I felt like it was just like, hey, let's put them in a cool environment, see how they get on, and let's show you how hungry Baby Yoda can get. Now, unless that's a plot point at the end of the season where the child has some ravenous appetite for a reason, then maybe that could be interesting. And it's always nice seeing that woman from Mos Eisley again. You know, she's great. And yeah, that's about it. That's all I have pretty much to say on this episode. Just kind of a standard episode. You know, you're gonna get episodes like these. You're gonna get filler, and it's, yeah, you know, the season is long. We've got more episodes coming. This was just to probably fill a slot. Like, I'll be honest with you guys. Sometimes creatives don't always look. They G up the creative world like it's something magnificent. But not every episode of every TV show has the amount of heart and work put into it as, like, Avengers Endgame or you know, some Oscar-winning movie. You know, some things are just literally put in there just to fill a slot, and that's it. So I really don't feel like this was done with the intention of, okay, we really need to make sure the characters learn something from this episode. I think it was more so to do with the fact, right, we need to fill this slot. Let's have them go on a little side quest to take him away from the mission for a minute, and then in episode 3 we put him back on the mission. And I hope they don't do that again, but, you know, I wouldn't be surprised. But you're gonna get episodes like these anyway. Anyway, guys, comment down below. Let me know what you thought of the episode, and yeah, where do you think the season will go from here? I'm very excited to see where it'll go, and you know, it does beg to question. I mean, did Yoda always have this kind of appetite? Just always wanting to eat everything in sight? I don't know. This episode was a kind of meh to me, you know? But not in a bad way, not in a good way. Just kind of, meh, not bad. You know, it was a decent one. It was a decent one. But anyway, guys, comment down below, let me know. And remember, the Force will be with you. Always.